have a tendency as human beings to look at one little dot, and if we don't know enough about the subject, we expand on that dot and create a whole reality. Where the truth is that you have to learn the subject, put it in context, and then you realize that a lot of the points are unvalid. I truly feel, and I'm not saying it a paraphrase or to be politically correct, I truly feel for the Palestinian people. I really think that they're living in terrible conditions. And like I said, you have to pinpoint at their leadership. It's important to understand when we see a bomb falling on an UNRWA, United Nations school, and we say, how dare the Israelis bomb it? It's important to understand very clearly that the method of the Hamas is fighting from within schools. It's fighting from within mosques. It's keeping ammunition and weapons in mosques. It's using ambulances as delivering weapons and even shooting missiles from within ambulances. It's using the United Nations schools for that purpose, exactly knowing this fact that the world will look at it very badly if they see the Israeli hitting one of those targets. And knowing that, they use it for that purpose. In many cases, this is part of the PR word. They understand that PR, since other methods don't really work, PR is the best weapon they have in their hand. And in many cases, not all cases, many cases, they will manipulate a lot of what we see on TV and picture-wise to their advantage. I keep saying to my friends, give me 5 years to be Prime Minister of Gaza. Here's the points that I would do. My first initial list, if you give me 5 years to take the Palestinians out of their misery. Number one, kill terror. Denounce it. Take it out of any frame of thinking, of law. Take it out of schools. Take it out of a way of living. There is no more terror as a way of living. Number two, sign peace with Israel. The moment you sign peace with Israel, the borders open. Israel comes in. Israel helps. Israel works with you. It opens the gates to the whole world. The whole mentality changes. Number three, close the Palestinian camps. It's about time. The Palestinian camps are kept over there artificially, so there is something to point at to say, here we have a problem. I want to pay attention for a moment that the Palestinian refugee problem is not the only refugee problem that is in existence. There was another big refugee problem. Almost 1 million had to leave their homes, were thrown away. Some of them were, before they were thrown into jail or killed. All their properties were confiscated and they had to leave. I'm talking about all the Jews that left the Arab countries, coming to Israel. Except, of course, when they came to Israel, they were not put in any camps. They were not sustained there. It was obvious they will assimilate with the rest of the population. This is their homeland. And we don't have a problem. Nobody points at it because the Jews immediately took them into them. It's one group. Here, those camps are kept for years alive, so you can pinpoint and say, look how poor they are. And it's not that there is no money to take care of it. Arafat had in his banks in Europe $900 million, almost $1 billion that could be taken and put into the people. And this is what I would do. I would close the camps, and with the money, and a lot of money comes into Hamas, into Gaza, with the money, I would build for them apartments, infrastructure of streets, schools, food. I would open the harbor. Commerce comes in. The world connects. Before you know it, this place is so prosperous and beautiful. And I would live aside the way of killing, of terror. Those are the first 5 steps that I would do immediately. If I would become the Prime Minister of the Gaza Strip. Look at the people that lead you and see that they're leading you astray. They're leading you to the wrong place. It's not Israel. How humane the Israeli military and the Air Force is. This is something you don't understand until you come from it and understand how Israel in his whole doctrine rethinks how not to hurt civilians. I'll give you 2 fast examples. I might add at this point that today's weapon system is so accurate that you can hit and pinpoint to a target without creating collateral damage. In other words, least damage to the surroundings. So this is the weapon systems that we're using today. On top of it, an Apache will stand. It has its target. It's a very clear target. It's a terrorist. Before getting the authorization, it takes many steps till the authorizing to shoot this one missile, because they want to make sure that no civilians are around and no innocent bystander will get hurt. That's the first step. After that, finally he gets the authorization. The missile is on its way. Mind you, the missile left the helicopter. Above the helicopter, there will be a UAV that's watching the whole scene. If at any point the UAV with its cameras detects that the vehicle is getting back to innocent civilians, it will immediately inform the Apache pilot or the Cobra pilot and will instruct it to deviate the missile in the air and explode it without hitting the target. Unheard of. Unheard of for any military for doing such a thing. Another example, they hold their ammunition in apartments, in buildings where civilians live. What does Israel do? Before it sends the F-16s or F-15 to bomb that place, because, mind you, this is now a military post, okay? And I want to add here that by Geneva Accord, if you fight from within civilians and civilians get killed, you didn't pass any international law. You didn't create any crime. It's on the person or on the country that decides to fight from within civilians. This is the Geneva Accord. Back to the story. What Israel does is, half hour before the attack, it will call, telephone call, to the people that live in the house and say, listen, we are about to attack and destroy the house. Again, unprecedented, because it takes the effect of the element of surprise you're taking out of it. Now, usually, it gives them enough time to run away. Hamas decided, oh, let's use it to our advantage. Not only they tell the people you have to stay, and they force them to stay, they bring more people, more civilians to that house, they put them on the roofs of the house, but in order to avoid that even, what Israel will do, Israel will shoot a small bomb, whether it was an F-16 or was an attack helicopter, something small to one of the departments of the house. Doesn't create any real damage, but what it does, it shows the people in the house, listen, we are bombing your house, I mean, we are serious. Then they run away because a little bomb fell, and once we made sure that they ran away, the big bombs will come and destroy the house. This is the extent of where the IDF and the Israeli Air Force goes to save or to try to spare innocent lives of people. Nobody knows about it. For every bomb that you see on TV that Israel drops, there are 30 bombs that you don't hear about. They were not dropped because you don't want to hit, civilians. Same with the infantry. We have those famous shots of hitting the different tunnels where they smuggle weapons, and after that the IDF comes in and helps the Hamas soldiers out of it, takes care of them, takes care of the wounded. Unprecedented. I'm not even getting into the fact that we send in tons and tons of food, medical supplies to take care of them. I'm not even talking about the fact that we bring them to our hospitals. Unprecedented. Although things are not mentioned enough to understand that the way Israel fights, you won't find any other nation in the world fighting that way. I'm not even getting in the way of Hamas, which is totally not their way. I want to stress together with all of this, the fix or the catch that Israel is in, and the faster we come to terms with it, it will be easier it is to live with it. It's our reality, and we just have to accept it. What Israel is doing now in the Gaza Strip was a must. There was no way around it. We waited too long, and 8 years, and they built and designed their infrastructure of a military that really needs to be somehow obliterated and destroyed. There was no way around it. But the other side of it, it won't, in the long run, it won't solve the problem, which is bringing those two nations together, which is what we would like to do. So this is the fix that Israel is in. It has to do it, but we know that answering violence, won't answer the long-term problem. You have to come to an understanding, and you have to find people on the other side, and we don't have it right now, that are willing to talk to you and truly come to understanding with Israel. Because the way right now they believe, and the way their emancipation is written, Israel doesn't have a right to exist, the Jews don't have to sit there, and Israel has to be destroyed. And as long as this is written in their books, there is no way that we can come to some kind of understanding.